the conditions for seller financing in 1980 or the conditions for seller financing in 1990, they were not the same conditions. But if you look at any market, it's the void in the market that's the opportunity, right? Theoretically, there's no way a house buyer could make any money today, theoretically. You know, a realtor can it's the easiest for a realtor to put anything on the market and find a buyer for it today than it's been in most every realtor's career.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right? Way easier to go sell property that needs to be repaired, or, you know, a hoarder's there, or all the stuff that used to be like, that's why they deal with house buyers, is realtors just want perfectly staged houses. And if it's not that, they won't fool with it.
Yep.
Now they can throw a piece of junk on the internet and then still,
yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you would think that because of those conditions, it would have walled off every house buyer from buying, you know, property. But that's not true. Now, the biggest 500 guys in the business have made more money in the last 2 years than they've ever made.
Right.
I don't think that's necessarily true of guys that aren't in the top 500 list.
Yeah,
right?
I agree with you. Yeah.
So if that's true, what void are the big guys missing that the little guy could really zero in on?
Yeah. I mean, that's the price point too, right? Mortgage companies don't want to deal with $50,000 and less properties. That's one price point, right? Even $100,000 and under properties. They generally don't want to waste their time with that.
And to be truthful with you, I don't either. Like most people that think of seller financing, we think of seller financing. People don't quite say it this way, but they're thinking this. They sort of look at it like, I want to deal in substandard property, and I want to deal with a substandard borrower, and that's my bank becomes his pawn shop. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not what I teach. I teach dealing in very nice property and very good borrowers. You just have to know where the void's at.
Right. Right.
And it's not magic. I just been studying this for 42 years. Right. And you and I talked about it before we started the podcast today. You know, and you and I have had this conversation a lot. We're in a lot of masterminds together. We've hung out a lot. Paul, you really get it, right? I meet some guys that really get just wholesaling. You really get the whole thing.
And I'll tell you what, the owner finance is still to this day my favorite part. Still my favorite part.
Well, and so funny story, about 2 years ago, and some of the masterminds that you and I are in, what was happening to the high volume real estate investor is they were losing their conversion rate. And when you and I first started hanging out together, call it 2014. They were making about 6 or 8 offers and get a house bought. It was not, I mean, like their conversion rate was pretty amazingly high.
Yeah.
And then it just kept weaning down. So finally you get to the point they're making 20 or 25 offers to buy a house. And I said, well, you need to have a strategy other than a cash strategy, right? Which is get the seller to carry terms, right? And the whole idea behind this is dictating the terms.
Yes, yeah, that's the key from the investor side.
And what are dictating the terms, and what are good terms? I can just tell you automatically there's some things that people offering seller financing will give away the farm completely oblivious that they're doing it, right? Most people I've observed are stuck on the sales price of the property, what that HUD 1 says, that contract sales price, because that's their bragging rights. That's what they call their brother and say, hey man, we sold that property and whatever. And of course, every real estate investor in the country, if you're fairly savvy, everybody knows the most likely customer to sell is a frustrated landlord.
Yes.
Right? That's the most motivated guy in the market.